Hey guys, welcome to the part 3 of Dweeb Reviews Castlevania Season 4, the final season, or supposedly final season. But as we get further into the season, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm really hoping this is not the final season because things are in full roll now. It's amazing. Chris won't be able to join us for this particular episode. I hope to get him on the next one. But as we just talked about in our previous review, episodes 3 and 4, the beginning of the season started out a little slow. It gave a lot of background into what's happened in the 6 or so weeks since season 3 had ended. And now we are in the swing of things. And these two particular episodes, episode 6 a little bit more than episode 5, really build ahead towards the ultimate climax. And we start to, I guess, in theory, wrap up certain character arcs for characters that we heavily care about. So episode 5, Back in the World. We get to see Alucard escort Greta and the rest of the villagers from Dynasty to his castle. And there's the entire journey through the forest. They're being attacked by creatures of the night left and right. We get a lot of really great Alucard combat. Animation here. Really great Alucard combat animation. And we see him fight with a mixture of the shield and the sword, sometimes the sword not in his hand, controlling it telekinetically. A lot of those dash speed moves that he does from tree to tree, which from the one Castlevania video game I did play, Symphony of the Night, is something that he can do within that game as well. So it was cool to kind of see that tied in with his character and manifest here in this show. I really like that across these two episodes. Actually, I mean, this whole season, to be honest with you, the animation on the action scenes is really pumped up. And it seems like they're taking the action scenes very seriously from a directorial perspective when they actually created the show. We get to see Sypha kind of retaking her own identity, kind of stepping outside of the shadow of Belmont, outside of the mindset of Belmont, which we talked about also in previous episodes, when she directly butts heads with the leader of the underground court. That I think it was Zamfir is her name, the character with the knives, and we do get to see that manifest as she starts to kind of direct the downtrodden citizens of Targovista. Finally, though, the episode ends with what remains of the villagers, that poor little dog that got killed by the creature of the night. But what remains of the villagers making it to Alucard's castle, him welcoming them within. Saint Germain has made it very clear that he's highly interested in what's inside Dracula's castle, and we know from the previous episodes that he has his own motivations to resurrect Dracula, and so there's very possible that there's something within that castle that he needs in order to do so. And finally, the very end shows Isaac amassing his troops for war, and then we didn't get too much of what his intentions were in this in the previous episode featuring Isaac, but we do see that right into the beginning of episode 6 as Isaac deploys his creatures of the night, and he's amassed a heck of an army. I mean, really cool designed creatures too. I mean, some of the same ones we've seen before, the like humanoid bats with wings, the skeletal antelope creatures, but his elite forces are like these dark seraphim, 6-winged angel characters that are so cool, and to me gave a major like Devil May Cry vibe with just their general design. And we've been waiting for a while to see kind of the full potential of a Forgemaster in combat. For season 3 you get a little bit of that as he fights with his small unit or battalion of creatures of the night at the time. But now we get to see a Forgemaster that has had time to prepare, has amassed an army of these creatures, these demons, if you will. And he alone, I mean, really alone with his manifested army, storm the Castle of Carmilla. I think it was Stygia. That's the country, I think. But anyways, Great action scenes. Great action scenes. I thought for sure that Isaac would kill Hector. I like that they kind of find a common ground and share respect for each other. Isaac seems to be a hero now, for all intents and purposes. It doesn't seem like he really has intentions of conquest beyond just Carmilla's castle. Part of this being revenge, I think, for what happened with Dracula, but he's clear that he wants to just let Dracula stay dead and he's going to live his own life. And really, Isaac is awesome. He's always been a favorite for me, but in this episode, man, so cool how they manifest his fight scenes, how he's able to summon and control and manipulate the specific creatures of the night that he's created. I like that we get some redemption from Hector. I don't quite buy in that Lenora is just going to be happy being his captive, I guess, or she's going to just be cool with the fact that he eliminated or helped Isaac eliminate Carmilla and all the vampires in the castle. And she didn't get into the position that she's in right now as a leader of this country because she did not have ambitions of her own. And it may be that she actually cares for Hector. I don't know. We'll see. But how that story ended, I imagine we're going to see a little bit more of Lenore and Hector specifically. I don't think that this is the end of the tale for Hector, but it may be for Isaac. And you know what? I think it's a pretty good conclusion for Isaac if they do choose to make this the end of the story for him. But man, I'm really, really excited. I'm so happy that we got to see this combat scene. Carmilla is awesome. Her final scene against wave after wave of the incoming night creatures. Sorry, I keep wanting to say demons. These night creatures is awesome. The way that Isaac uses them to defend and attack and distract before he then stabs at Carmilla too, really cool. And her final move, she wasn't going to be defeated by anyone's hands but her own. And I guess I didn't really think of Carmilla as too strong of a character for most of her time throughout this series, but I realized in this episode that I had more of a connection to her than I had previously thought. And I really liked how they kind of portrayed her character in these past few episodes as a villain. I like that we're halfway through the season and they're already ending her storyline, because now we really get to focus on the resurrection of Dracula. I'm sure Varmy and Ratko or Reiko, whatever his name is, are going to be more important characters coming up. When I first saw Varney, I thought he was Dracula. I don't know if they intended for that to happen, but he looks pretty similar. But I imagine that they're more than just the comic relief that Chris has said that they were. I mean, so far they have been very comic relief-y, if you will. But they seem to be the main villains. They seem to be working with Saint Germain. We find out that Hector was even working with Saint Germain. And that's why I think we're going to see a little bit more of Hector, because Saint Germain is going to ultimately be, I'm pretty sure, the villain of this season. I thought that they would bring back Dracula and give him another arc. Maybe that's just kind of the looming threat, or maybe he comes back for one final boss fight. I'm not quite sure. But I like the direction this is going. I expect that we're going to see more of Sypha and Belmont specifically, and hopefully the unification of them, or the reunion of them with Alucard. Now, I do want to say that I did at least consult with Chris, because I'd like to share some of his favorite parts before we conclude this episode. I think definitely the dominant characters of these two episodes are Isaac and Carmilla. We got to see really cool stuff from Carmilla. We got to see Isaac kind of take charge of his own life. Those are definitely the standout characters for me. And Chris in his notes say, yes, the battle between Carmilla and the army of Isaac was, as he put, super cool. And he got major vibes of Game of Thrones from here, which I get. It's kind of the house versus house warfare. He saw this as like the Red Wedding betrayal. It kind of is. I mean, I think Isaac was already determined to be a villain in the eyes of Carmilla from here, just because of his loyalty to Dracula. I think really the great betrayal comes with Isaac enlisting Hector to his own side, and Hector cutting off his finger, which is, as Chris put, I believe, John Wick status. And cutting off his own finger, breaking the slave ring's bind over his magic, and having his creatures of the night abandon the vampire forces of Styria. Styria, that's his name. Styria, not Stygia. Styria. And that's ultimately, I think, the red wedding betrayal that he was kind of alluding to when he brought up Game of Thrones influences in these two shows. I like it. This one, I talked about this with Chris the last week. I talked about this with you guys the last week. It was hard for me to pause to record the review after episode 4. Man, was it really hard to stop after episode 6. Episode 6 is a standout episode of this entire series. It is, it's not a standalone episode, obviously, because you have to know who the characters are, but if they can top this episode by the end of this season, I'm going to be very surprised. I think that when we do an episode breakdown across all seasons of this series at its conclusion, You Don't Deserve My Blood is intense. And I can't see any other episode beating that one out, to be honest. It's just, what an amazing turn of events. And just so excited to conclude through this season. So remember, guys, there's going to be 2 more parts of our review. We're going to do episodes 7 and 8 next. I hope to have Chris on for it. We'll see. At the very least, I'll get you his thoughts as well. And then finally finish up with the conclusion. And I will definitely have Chris on for that one. I'm not going to do that one without him. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please also tune in to Dweeb Culture's review of The Bad Batch as well. Myself, Michael, Cole are all a part of that. And we're hoping to bring to you some new content as well soon. Maybe some trailer view-alongs or some other fun stuff that we have in the works as well. But thank you guys for tuning in. Please share this and like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Can't wait for the next episodes, guys. So psyched.